I say to this day, and I do it based on my reaction. Obviously, this is personal. I say it's the greatest knockout of all time. First time I ever stood up, I couldn't sit down. I was standing up. I was just like, oh!
I saw that. I saw you stand up. That's the first time I see
it. was just, what?
Like in the last 6 rounds with AJ, in my opinion, he won 4 of them. People will argue that. He at least won 3.
But will you take care of me forever and ever?
When Anthony Joshua detonated a crushing 6th-round knockout to shut down Jake Paul's dream in their wildly hyped heavyweight clash, Joe Rogan's live response instantly showed the shockwave ripping through combat sports. Rogan, who had loudly warned about Joshua's one-punch menace and the danger Paul was walking into, didn't sugarcoat anything as the bomb landed, framing it not merely as a fight-ending finish, but as a moment destined to rank among boxing's most savage, unforgettable knockouts ever, and etched permanently into the sport's collective memory.
Come full steam ahead 100 miles an hour, or Jake would have moved around the ring at 100 miles an hour. There's 2 things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and
The bout officially billed as Judgment Day unfolded across scheduled 83-minute rounds in the heavyweight division, with Joshua entering as the obvious favorite thanks to elite experience and a massive size advantage. Standing at 6 feet 6 inches in and weighing roughly 243 pounds compared to Paul's 216 pounds, after several cautious early rounds Joshua started asserting control, dropping Paul multiple times in the 5th before sealing everything with a brutal 6th-round knockout at 1-31, detonating a crushing right hand that blasted Paul to the canvas and compelled the referee to halt the bout on the night.
Anthony Joshua. Paul was sturdy for the first couple of rounds, but as the fight went on, the more experienced Joshua began to take control. After continuously connecting in the 5th round, it was only a matter of time before it was over. In the 6th, Joshua went on to knock out Paul with a big right hand. Joshua improved his career record to 29-4 now. Paul loses for the 2nd time in his career.
Anthony Joshua facing Jake Paul became one of the year's loudest boxing spectacles, partly driven by outsized personalities, but equally because it brutally exposed the collision between classic heavyweight boxing tradition and the modern social media-powered influencer takeover era worldwide today.
Performance by Jake, brother.
Come on, bro. He's a fucking legend for that. He had such big balls getting in the ring with that guy, dude. Josh was a monster. He stayed in it the whole time, and I'm really proud of Jake, dude. All my respect to him, bro. Whatever outcome. I mean, dude, he went 6.5 rounds with Anthony Joshua, one of the best in the world. So I got nothing but respect.
And got up like 2 times?
No.
Talk about that. I mean, there's been other heavyweights that have felt that right hand who haven't got up.
Nagano, so many people, bro. They're overhand right. Jake's got a tough chin, dude. I think he does whatever he wants after this. He just has such big balls, dude. He had to keep moving. That was the only strategy. People are going to say he ran around the ring. They don't know. They don't understand fucking boxing.
You showed a ton of heart, right? What's next for Jake Paul? Where does he go?
Joshua, the former 2-time unified heavyweight champion, walked in as an overwhelming favorite. Paul, a YouTuber turned boxer, leveraged his massive platform to pull huge audiences toward boxing despite non-stop criticism from purists questioning his legitimacy. Still, almost no one genuinely believed he had a realistic shot against true elite heavyweight power.
Some people believe in fairy tales. Whoever believed that Jake Paul was going to win, that was an absolute fairy tale. I've got a friend in a group message that said, I just put $20 on Jake Paul to win. I was like, bro, you just wasted your money. There was never a world in which Jake Paul was going to beat Anthony Joshua. It was always a matter of how the fight would end. So I watched all the pundits talking about the fight. Even Rosendo, my boxing coach, I was like, does Anthony Joshua represent boxing? Everybody from that world felt like Anthony Joshua was representing boxing. And as the fight started to go on, first off, he was representing boxing, so they wanted him to get the job done. All right, first and foremost. You can't lose to a guy that's perceived to be a YouTuber, even though today, Jake Paul is more boxer than YouTuber. I've said this time and time again. When you have resources, when you can spend $1 million a year on training camps, housing, food, coaches, this is not recreational anymore. He's a boxer. He's just not a boxer at that level. I ran into his brother in New York City, and I said to Logan, what parameters are in place, Logan? What safeguards do they have to make sure that Anthony Joshua doesn't hurt your brother? He said there are none. He goes, they're going to just straight fight. So in that regard, you got to give credit.
After the fight, Anthony Joshua was candid and self-critical about his showing, admitting that even though he finished things with a 6th-round knockout, he didn't consider it his sharpest performance and felt he should have done far better. Joshua conceded he must improve, explaining he struggled early to land clean shots and failed to trap Jake Paul as quickly as many anticipated, labeling it a victory, but not a success, while stressing he still has significant work and progress ahead of him.
There is a lot of things, 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that have graced us over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are immense, but I tried my best. Jake done well while it lasted, but if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron is, fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you that, Jake, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna see a time when I'm gonna take your soul and you're either gonna give up.
Despite the knockout, Joshua made sure to credit Jake Paul's heart and toughness inside the ring, explaining that although he ultimately delivered the 6th-round knockout, Paul showed genuine spirit by repeatedly rising after being dropped and continuing to fight against a vastly more experienced former world champion. Joshua pointed out that few fighters would willingly step up to face someone of his caliber, and that Paul's determination to keep pushing, even during brutal moments, earned real respect.
AJ's won 6 rounds, he kind of dismantled him, he took his time. How do you see it?
Yeah, it was a frustrating 2-3 rounds maybe, because Jake was moving so much, holding, but did well, I thought. I mean, I was impressed with him. I mean, I was more impressed with his toughness, because I think that last shot would have knocked out most heavyweights. I mean, I know
he broke his jaw.
Yeah, I know it knocked him out, but he was not unconscious. You know, I mean, look, he may not come back from it. If he has broken his jaw, it's a big injury to come back from.
Well, there's pictures of him in hospital right now.
Well, listen, you've got to respect him, because he did what many people wouldn't do, which was get in the ring with him. And, you know, he didn't. I know he run and hold, but he also let his hands go at times. And he was in the firing line, and, you know, we got 6 good rounds in the end of actual work.
Is that how you see it in the end?
Yeah, I actually think it's a positive, because, you know, we could have gone in there and got it all over with 45 seconds. He's done an 8-week camp, and now he's done 6 rounds. He's got something to go back.
Paul walked away with a shattered jaw after his 6th-round knockout defeat. It happened when Joshua unloaded a brutal right hand that ended the fight in round 6. Paul, blooded around the mouth, admitted post-fight he believed his jaw was broken, and painfully, that suspicion proved completely true.
What's up, man? What's your reaction to it?
I'm just so proud of him. My mom has it.
Your brother fought his ass off, man. I mean, other heavyweights have taken that right hand and only took 1.
I'm just so proud of him. That was incredible. In my view, that was a victory on all fronts.
Right.
Like, minus the actual victory, of course, but bro, like, no one expected him to last 6 rounds with AJ. In my opinion, he won 4 of them. People will argue that he at least won 3. No one expected him to last that long. Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still fucking fighting, man. Like, that's toughness. You know, most people wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet, who's 40 pounds heavier than him and 6 inches taller. That's insane. He's one of the most skilled fighters on the planet. My brother, as a fucking YouTuber, went 6 rounds with him in a fight with a broken jaw and rolled ankle. I'm so proud of him. That was just unbelievable.
I saw you talking crap to AJ at one point.
I'm trying to get his head. I think I pissed him off. I was just saying something. I love AJ. But bro,
I saw you going down the fight game.
I was talking so much. But I just pissed him off. Then he broke my brother's jaw.
Jake leaned fully into his trademark bravado with a defiant post, sharing a screenshot of his X-ray revealing a double broken jaw. Paul wrote, "Double broken jaw. Give me Canelo in 10 days." Medical scans and X-rays confirmed his jaw was fractured in 2 places, commonly described as a double broken jaw. He even drove himself to a hospital after the fight for treatment. Recovery time for the injury was estimated at roughly 4 to 6 weeks, and Paul shared images and updates on social media confirming the fractures while thanking fans for their support.
Nikita, just down here, Jackford from the Sun. Just to follow up on Jake, he said he broke his jaw in the aftermath. Has he gone to hospital? What's the health update on Jake?
Yeah, we think he broke his jaw. He's fine. We met with Netflix afterwards. He took a shower. He drove himself to the hospital. A broken jaw is very common in sports, particularly in boxing or MMA. And I think the recovery time from the doctors and surgeons we've already talked to is
Nikisa Badarian applauded Paul's heart, toughness, and strategy, pointing out that Jake performed impressively against one of the most feared punchers in heavyweight boxing, and may have even taken a few early rounds. However, he stressed that the true reason for Paul's loss wasn't poor boxing skill, but the massive size and weight gap between the two men, with Joshua's heavier frame and strength steadily draining Paul's energy and enabling the former champion to land punishing shots that ultimately produced the knockout. Badarian explained that Joshua's physical dominance was a key factor in breaking Paul down, reinforcing that Paul's efforts still deserved respect despite the loss.
Happened. And ultimately, Jake Paul lasted a lot longer than anyone said he was going to. And I haven't seen the official scorecards. I don't know if anyone else has, but I think he might have won a round or two or even three. He was doing tremendously well in there against a person who is vastly more skilled, vastly larger, vastly more powerful. And he did it on 4 weeks preparation.
What would you like to see next for Jake?
I'd like him to take a beat, relax, and then think about when he's gonna fight next. You know, we talked about June, July timeframe. He loves this sport. He loves MVP. He loves the athletes. He loves giving them platform and push. This young lady right here, the whole time when I was talking to her, I said, "What do you think?" She goes, "Jake's gonna win. I believe in him. He can do whatever he wants to do." That's the kind of family that we're building at MVP. It's a fighter-first organization. You guys saw our weigh-in yesterday. That stuff costs a lot of money, but we want to put on the best brand for these fighters to show the.
Several fighters recognized Jake Paul's grit for daring to step into the ring with a former heavyweight champion and surviving until the 6th round, especially considering the massive size and experience gap. They emphasized that Paul displayed heart and resolve even though he ultimately fell by knockout. Eddie Hearn also acknowledged Paul's effort, but in a far more measured manner, stating that while Paul showed some toughness, the final outcome was never truly in question. Hearn stressed that nobody realistically expected Paul to last long against someone of Anthony Joshua's caliber, and making it into the 6th round had more to do with durability than refined technique. He suggested that Paul's showing exposed the clear divide between social media crossover fighters and elite professionals, underlining that while lasting several rounds was notable, it did nothing to change the reality that Joshua's experience and power completely controlled the fight.
Good. I mean, first 2 or 3 rounds, a little bit frustrating because you've been out of the ring for a year and a half and you've got a guy that's just running around the ring and, you know, you can say you've got to cut him off, but when they're moving at that kind of speed and they're holding up close, but his clinching was quite good, Jake. Like, yeah, listen, you know, I'm not saying he's going to go and win a world title, but he just fought Anthony Joshua and went 5 and a bit rounds. So, you know, respect to him, and it was good to get some rounds in, to be honest with you. He's got a new team. If it would have gone 45 seconds, maybe people would have been more impressed, but we wouldn't really have got any ring time. So we've got that, and now it's a case of when we're at next.
You described Jake as average a few years ago. What's your assessment of him now?
Decent. If you listen to what I said in the build-up, I said he used to be average, now I think he's decent. And the same. I think he's like a top 50 cruiserweight in the world. Top 50, top 60 cruiserweight in the world. So, yeah, and look, you know, like I said, I hope he's okay. 4-0 to Matchroom over MVP. We're friends now, so respect to him.
And you must
Fury, listen, we'll see you.
After the fight, Ryan Garcia jumped onto social media with a blunt, provocative reaction that instantly grabbed attention across the boxing world. Garcia tweeted that while he respected Paul's effort, he also fired off a sharp comparison involving Gervonta Davis, another high-profile boxer. In his tweet, Garcia wrote, "I think Gervonta would have done him worse," implying that Davis would have hit Paul harder or finished the fight far more decisively than Joshua did. Many experts echoed Garcia's view and insisted this was not elite boxing. Even after the fight, criticism of the matchup kept growing, with some observers arguing that the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul bout should never have happened at all.
Fair play to Jake Paul. He has a lot of guts, and the fact that he wasn't carried out of this fight on a stretcher, you know, certainly I guess you can say is a positive. But what did I think about this? What did I think about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul? Look, it felt like Anthony Joshua carried him. It felt like Jake Paul brought in as much of a negative anti-style as possible, circling away, constantly holding Joshua, constantly falling to the ground. Again, while you're certainly going to give respect for the YouTube star turned fighter for having the guts to put on this type of show and to stand in there for as long as he did until a clean right hand in the corner when Paul was absolutely exhausted, dropped him and ended the fight. This is not elite boxing. And we knew that coming in, but if these fights are going to be sanctioned as official fights, like the Mike Tyson fight from last year, like this one, how much longer is the appetite for the fan going to be there when this is such a bad look overall for the sweet science, the sport of boxing, which, you know, cannot get out of its way anyway?
Critics argue the size, experience, and skill divide between a former heavyweight world champion and a social media influencer turned boxer was far too extreme, turning the fight into more of a spectacle than a legitimate sporting contest. Many insist that placing Paul inside the ring with someone carrying Olympic pedigree and real heavyweight power created serious safety dangers, proven by his shattered jaw and repeated knockdowns afterward.
Joshua being taken 6 rounds by Jake Paul. We're in the aftermath here. The press conference is going on behind us. We're yet to see Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua out here. Ak, you were ringside, you were around the whole fight. People are complaining that Anthony Joshua may have embarrassed himself in there tonight, letting Jake take him 6 rounds.
It's ridiculous. Anybody that saying that doesn't know anything about boxing. First off, if you see how Jake was moving and clinching the first 3-4 rounds of that fight, you would understand. It doesn't matter how bad you are. If a fighter in front of you is destined to not get hit and not get knocked out, it's almost impossible to knock that guy out. When Jake was okay with exchanging and trying, even he was exhausted, he said, I'm going to try. That's when AJ was able to land the shots. AJ did what he was supposed to do. Not easy to knock a guy out that's surviving. You know that.
Yeah, I do. I wondered early on whether he didn't have a lot of adrenaline and he was walking Jake down. Jake was making himself small and moving away. And AJ said, you know what, I'm going to take my time here and marinate you.
Exactly. Listen, when a guy that's moving like Jake, that's inexperienced, you're going to gas out. I knew it for after half the first round. If Jake keeps moving like that, he's going to gas out in 2-3 rounds. And I noticed that AJ said, okay, I'm going to let him run around. Right? People are screaming, cut the ring off. Let me let him run around and gas out. Once he gassed out, what happened?
Experts argue that these crossover spectacles erode the integrity of professional boxing, prioritizing entertainment and pay-per-view profits over genuine competition, and that the fight mainly delivered hype rather than athletic value.
The bigger picture, you and I are boxing guys, we go to boxing all the time. The question we perhaps need to ask is, did that entertain the fans tonight? Should we be seeing that again? Is that it now? We've seen that novelty. Should a fight like that between an Olympic champion, a heavyweight world champion, against a relative novice, should that be sanctioned and licensed by a commission? You know, it was a one-off. Jake's a one-off, but we shouldn't be seeing a lot of these events, in my view.
Never again. We should never have that gap of experience,
the mismatch,
skill set should never happen again. I mean, to your point, Jake is an anomaly, right? Like, we can let him get that off. He tried it, and he even landed a couple of shots, but you saw at first, I mean, as soon as he landed the first right hand, even he saw, I can't hurt this guy. I'm not going to.
It was a pebble hitting a tank, is how I've described it.
Great description. So I think it's, in some sense, we needed to have this in order for it
to
not
get
to
it out
happen
of our
again.
system.
Right. In order for it not to happen again. And look, let's not ignore that there were other fighters on the card who were watched, who were seen from places all around the world. So it served its purpose, and kudos to Netflix for allowing it to happen.
Yeah, Baumgardner was very good. Alicia Baumgardner defending her belts. Caroline Dubois was very good. She signaled herself to the American market, as you mentioned. So at least they benefit from it as well tonight, which will continue to happen with MVP and Netflix.
And that's what Jake and Nikisa, that's their agenda, right? Of course, it's Jake, but Jake has all of that in mind. Who can I showcase on this event? He did it for Amanda Serrano. She's made millions. He's starting to look, Dubois, she looked great. I want to see her again. Me personally, I became a fan of her.
So what's your take? Was this bout a real test of skill, or just a flashy spectacle that never should have happened? Sound off below and let everyone know what you really think in the comments.